I think when we first started out with the lab, there was a lot of apprehension from staff members of like, why are we spending all of the money to open a fab lab? Why do our kids need this? How are our kids ever going to be able to operate laser cutters and 3D printers and all of those different things? And I a little bit was along with them, like, I don't know, I'm going to give it a try, but I don't really know how this is all going to work. And I think very quickly that mindset shifted. And I got a lot of feedback last year where teaching assistants were asking to be able to come into the lab and work with students in here. The experiences that they've gained here is more than just making something cool on the 3D printer. It's really teaching them the foundation skills that they need when they leave this building, and especially some of those problems solving skills that our students don't have and need support to work on.
And so when we built that internal support system and got the dream, so to speak, lifted off, our next level of trying to get buy-in was from our county board and our school board, as well as the county board supervisors. And that we believe this only ties into the student's future, and that it's another feather in our cap as to making Lakeland School unique and making it meaningful to our students so that they can become lifelong learners and productive citizens, so to speak, when they graduate and go out into the community. We decided that pretty much right from the get-go, because I don't know if we would have been as successful or been able to put this into real function without having that day-to-day person be a part of the process. Kids are excited about this. It's a break from, quote, the traditional reading and writing and math type of situation. And it kind of sneaks up on the kids in the sense of they're still applying all of those skills, but they're doing it in more of a creative, problem-solving, and in some ways playful way of still learning, but yet not feeling like I can't do a certain thing because I'm not good at math, or I can't do this because I can't read the instructions, or I can't figure this out because I'm not sure what it means. This is a place where kids get to come in and not be afraid of trying something, or being afraid that maybe their hesitations or their perhaps even a lack of confidence in certain skill sets is misunderstood. They get to come in here and try to build something or do something just like that person next to them, and it's okay if it's different, because they're different might be very, very functional in the sense of what the project was trying to accomplish. Our kids like to be in here because it's an opportunity for some of our kids who have all their life struggled in a classroom. They've struggled to, quote, compete. They've struggled to keep up, or they've even struggled to try to understand what the content is being presented to them. And when they get to put their hands onto something and manipulate it or build it or do it their own unique way, it's a wonderful place that just says we don't put boundaries or barriers on our kids. It's an opportunity to just go and do whatever, and everything is just intended to let their mind explore and build and create.
Sign that said never fear Batman's here. I did a fidget spinner and a dice. Exploring the different technologies and stuff.
I made a chess piece, like a chess king and a chess pawn, and from the laser for the 3D printing, using the chess game board for the laser cutting. Just do laser cutting and do green screen. I like to record videos like morning announcements and some things to record. Yeah, it's like to play chess with Gabe and Chris.
The first student that I can think of that really comes to mind is a student named Chris, and he is one of our high school students right now. He's someone who finds reading very challenging and sometimes struggles in more of those core academic classes.
You know, one kiddo really, he stands out. He's, I believe, in the high school department now. He's a student who came to us from the regular ed environment, came to us obviously struggling in his academic growth, and that was probably the discussion of why he became a student here at Lakeland School. He was pretty kind of to himself, quiet, always respectful and polite, but just really, you could just read his body language and really understand that school was not a place that he found endearing to him. And it was interesting because last summer, in our summer school program, we offered the opportunity for kids to come to the PHabLAB and have a summer school experience. And I think it's a tradition in all schools that there's a countdown when those final days come. You know, people are either putting numbers up and we're taking it from 10 down to 1 or whatever it is. And they're excited for summer to begin. And this particular kiddo had his own countdown, and he created a countdown for when summer school began for him because he couldn't wait for school to end and summer school to begin. It was that important for him to be able to be engaged here. And he just, he's just flourished. He's absolutely come out of his shell. I'll see him in the hallway and he'll, you know, simply say, "Hey, where are you going? Do you want to walk with me to the bus?" or whatever. He's just opened up. He's become very engaged. And he's now in this particular setting building his skill set of technical skills and real life skills that I think he believes and is confident in, that are going to build a future for him after he gets out of school, rather than doing the traditional jobs of going and working in a restaurant or working in fast food, or many of those jobs that are very entry level, and they're important jobs, but they're often jobs that our type of students are in simply maybe because of default, that nobody else will fill those jobs. And here's a kid that perhaps is going to be able to go into a manufacturing setting or something similar to that and be able to stand side by side with a student or a young adult who is in the regular ed setting, and he may accelerate past that kid, and he knows it. And it's so exciting to see him and where he's come from when he first started at our school to where he is today.
I made boxes, I made a chess piece. All week I like game pieces. I dough hinge, and that's a hinge. I have not used an actual printer before. I used the 3D printed laser machine and the T-shirt weed type thing and the vinyl cover. I made a box, a round box. You can just like lift up and put stuff in it to my sister and my. Then I made a square box and gave it to my mom.
So Lakeland School reached out to Palmer Hamilton because they were aware of our PHabLAB program and what we could offer. So when they were going through the process with an architect of designing these spaces, they ran into an issue that they weren't getting exactly what they wanted designed for the makerspace, and the program wasn't as well thought out as they had hoped. So they reached out to Palmer Hamilton, and we began consulting with them and the architect with Lakeland School. And some of the questions that we brought up to the school were there any limitations or things that we should consider for their students, and the administrators all agreed that no, we did not want to limit the students. We wanted our students to have the full experience in the PHabLAB as any school would.
So some of the things we had to consider when we were designing the space was ADA compliance, noise levels, and being able to access the equipment, that it wasn't set too high, or we had some that was set lower so students that were younger in age would be able to access the equipment as well, because the student age range here is very wide compared to a typical K-8 school or K-12 school. So those were some of the considerations we took into selecting the equipment and the furniture that went into the space. Yeah, so the installation, there was a lot of coordination we had to have because we had numerous parties involved. There were electricians that were in here, making sure there was enough power. The architect was coordinating with the general contractors to make sure everything else was being put into place. And then once we were good to go on our side to install, we sent our team of installers here to install the space. And the space that the lab is in now used to be a computer lab. So the conversion from the computer lab to the PHabLAB generally takes 2 days for our team to get in here and install the space, which means there's minimal downtime for the school to not have the space accessible, which is great. And then shortly after that installation, we arrive to do the orientation as well. And we generally like to do that very quickly after an install. That way we can check to make sure all the equipment is properly functioning, all the furniture is as they ordered it, and everything just generally looks good for us to be able to give it the stamp of approval or address any issues that we've had. So one of the things that we did at Palmer Hamilton was we came over here for 2 days and we made sure that all the equipment functioned and that Hope and her team knew how to use the equipment. So some of the ongoing support, if Hope has an issue with one of the 3D printers, she's able to call me and let me know, hey, this 3D printer, the filament's not feeding through. What do I do from here? I've done steps 1, 2, and 3, and then I can help address an issue with her. And it addresses any of the equipment that we install in the space. So if she has an issue, she has minimal downtime with the equipment that's installed in here. And she's also learning as she goes with me through troubleshooting the equipment and repairing some of the equipment. So while Lakeland School is right down the road from us, we have labs all over the country that are able to reach out and do the same type of support with me that Hope is able to do right down the road. They give me a phone call, they tell me their issue that's happening with their equipment, and I'm able to go in and research and figure out what exactly is the issue with their equipment, give them some troubleshooting tips over the phone, via email, or through a video call. And if the issue can't be fixed through those means, we will have that equipment shipped and repaired for them through the manufacturer, and then have that sent back out to them in full repair.
Earlier last year, one of our speech therapists came to me with the idea of needing a key guard for a student who has, it's called an AAC device, an assistive technology device for speech output. So for our nonverbal students who aren't able to communicate using their words, they can then push different buttons on a tablet or some type of device and it generates the voice for them. So she was going to be delayed about 6 weeks in order to get a key guard that had broken for one of our early childhood learners, and came to me asking if it was something that we could try and replicate in the lab. So we were able to use our laser cutter and design a duplicate of that key guard and make it, and not only were we able to have it in the same day for that student to use, but we were also able to make it at a significantly lower cost than what we could purchase it from an outside company. So it was awesome to see that that student wasn't limited by being able to communicate and participate in class because of the lab that we have and the capabilities we have to modify some of those equipment. So again, kind of just goes back to the possibilities are endless. We may need in the future to maybe make a modification for a student's wheelchair or something like that. Different fidget toys that students can access. So it's awesome that we can really hone in on our students' needs and really create those tools for them right here instead of having to outsource those resources.
There's good things going on here, and I feel really honored and I'm proud to be part of it. I appreciate that Palmer Hamilton was willing to take a chance with us and give our kids a chance too.